Howdy, hi. It is Do Your Job Sports college football picks for week 7. We're looking at our best bets. Let's get into the video. All right, first things first, we're going to recap the previous week's results. Overall, we go 6, 7, and 1. So I'm going to talk about what happened in these games, and then we'll get on to the week 7 picks. So our winners, we had 6 of them, and then we had one push. First off, we had Michigan State plus 24 versus Oregon. This was a sneaky backdoor cover. Michigan State's offense not really able to get much going, but their defense held up, I thought, pretty well against Oregon. They forced, I think, 2 turnovers at least. They made a nice backdoor cover at the end with a field goal to get us over. Then we had Boise and Utah State over 65.5. I think this one hit in the first half, if I'm not mistaken. They scored a ton of points in this game. J&T went for 3 touchdowns, like 180 yards. I don't even think he played in the second half. Next game, Minnesota plus 10 versus USC. How about Minnesota on the money line? They win outright at home against USC. One thing to look out for the future of this year, Lincoln Riley against real Big Ten schools this year, 0-2. At Michigan, USC lost. At Minnesota, USC lost. I think they won at home against Wisconsin, but again, that's at home. So on the road against Big Ten schools, USC 0-2. Then we had Iowa State minus 13 versus Baylor. Iowa State is just a second half team. I think they were up maybe 7 or 9 points at halftime, and then they just laid it on them. I mean, they just laid pipe in the second half. They said, "No, thank you, Baylor. Your season is done. You suck." Clemson minus 14 versus Florida State. That one wins. I hope most of y'all got this at a good number. This is why I post these videos so early. There's a lot of opening line value you can get. Clemson opened minus 14, which is the number I gave out on last Sunday's video. They closed at minus 16.5. They end up winning this game by 16. This is why you bet these games early. Final one, Coastal Carolina minus 5 versus ODU. I think they win by 7. So tight game there, but they're able to get it across. Then our push, we had Rutgers plus 7 against Nebraska. This is another game where if you got it at the closing line, you lost. If you got it at the opening line, you won. Rutgers plus 7, push. Rutgers plus 5.5, which is what it closed at, loser. Just another reason to make your bets in early. Then we have some absolutely atrocious games that took place over the weekend, which we were on the complete wrong side of. Atrocious game number 1, Missouri plus 2. I don't even know the final score of this game. I turned it off when it was 28-0 or whatever. This was horrible. Absolutely disgusting. They were showing the stats on screen. Missouri's defense, like 2nd overall, 3rd against the run, blah, blah, blah. Like, it didn't matter. Texas A&M did whatever they wanted. Missouri got destroyed. Next game, Texas State versus Troy. This was brutal. I think this was the Thursday night game. We had the over 80 or 57.5. This one loses by 3. They score 55 points. They didn't score a single point in the fourth quarter. Not one. 0. So I thought this one was a guaranteed winner. Turns out, loser. We then had over 44 Penn State versus UCLA. That one a loser. It loses by 7. Penn State's offense just doesn't move the ball down the field enough to win football games against good teams. Like, yeah, you can beat UCLA and West Virginia and all these teams, but once you play really good offenses like Ohio State, you're going to get shelled. That's why they lose every single year. They just can't compete offensively. The other horrible game, Oklahoma State minus 4. Again, don't even know the final score of this game. I turned it off when they were down like 30. Oklahoma State down horrible. They started off the season, they were ranked at one point like 15 or 16 in the country, and then they just gotten shelled 3 games in a row. Don't know what's going on over there, but they got to figure it out quick. We had Michigan plus 2 versus Washington. They lose the game by 7, I think. This was a really tight game. It was a tie game, and then Michigan fumbled on their own 30-yard line. So that was basically the game right there. We had South Alabama, Arkansas State over 61.5. That one never had a chance. I think the halftime score was 6-3. Yep, that was rough. Then we had Tennessee minus 13.5 versus Arkansas. They lose outright. A massive upset week in college football. Obviously, You have Bama going down. You have Tennessee going down. You have USC losing. You have Michigan. It was just everywhere, literally everywhere. And it was almost capped off by Miami losing at Cal, but they were able to come back. So that is the recap. We go 6-7-1. Not the best, not the worst, but in a crazy week of college football, I'll take it. All right, let's get on to tomorrow's picks, or not tomorrow, this week's picks. First game of the week, it is Florida International University heading to Liberty. I'm taking Liberty minus 19.5 in the over of 53.5. This is the Tuesday night game. Liberty coming off of an unintentional bye week because of the game cancellation with App State. So these boys are going to be hungry for a game. Very, very hungry. They have not played in 3 weeks of football now because they went unintentional bye week, semi bye week since they didn't play this weekend. Now they play on Tuesday. So they're going to want to lay some schmack down on these FIU boys. Liberty, they got the 34th ranked offense in the country, 465 yards a game, both through the air and on the ground. They get it done through both. FIU, 204th ranked defense, giving up 415 yards a game. They gave up 45 points to Monmouth 2 weeks ago. I couldn't even tell you what state Monmouth was in, or that it was a college. Granted, like maybe 3 years ago I could. Either way, that should sum up their defensive ability, giving up 45 to a basketball school. This game should be high scoring. If FIU is able to score, it's going to have to be through the air, as they are one of the worst rushing teams in football. They're ranked 246 in rushing yards per game. So if they're going to want to move the ball, it's going to have to be through the air. So I'm going to take Liberty 19.5 in the over of 53.5. Game number two schools that I do not think have any chance of doing anything this year. It is Penn State and USC. I'm taking the under of 49 points. After watching the last few Penn State games, I don't think this offense can actually score the ball. They just run it and run it and run it. And then their throws are like 6-yard cut routes to the middle or just out routes to out of bounds. And then there is the whole angle of USC not being able to beat good Big Ten schools. They've lost against Michigan, didn't score many points. Lost against Minnesota, only managed to score 17 points. So if you're only scoring 17 against Minnesota, this Penn State defense is going to hit you in places you've never been hit before. Your tailbone is going to be coming out of your ankles. These boys are going to hit you hard. So with how slow Penn State plays, with how good their defense is, and with how bad USC has been against real Big Ten opponents, I'm going to fade Lincoln Riley while also fading the Penn State offense. I think this game stays under 30 points. Penn State's just going to run the ball, keep the game close as they always do, and then just slowly bleed time away as we get to the end. So give me the under 49 points here. Penn State defense is built different. Next game, it is Coastal Carolina and JMU. I think this is a Thursday game. Nope. I don't know. I think this is a weekday game. Either way, I'm taking the over 58.5. You got two of the best offenses in the Sun Belt. Coastal ranked 54th in the country. JMU ranked 36th in the country in offensive yards, that is. Both teams like to pass the ball a lot. Should be a high-scoring game. Neither of these defenses are something to write home about. They actually both kind of suck. They're giving up 412 and 360 yards a game. Coastal coming off a game where they gave up 37 points to Old Dominion. How do you give up 37 points to Old Dominion? That's another college. Couldn't tell you where it is. What state? I don't know. Massachusetts? Who the fuck knows? Not me. Their opponent has scored a minimum of 20 points against this Coastal Carolina defense every single game. And then you got JMU, the number one team ranked in the Sun Belt. So have fun with that. JMU coming off a brutal loss against ULM, where they have 150 more yards of offense, but they lose the time of possession battle. They were unable to capitalize in crucial spots late in the game. Brutal loss for JMU. This is a bounce back spot at home against a Coastal team that does not know what defense is. So I'm going to take the over 58.5 in this one. Next game we got, it is Kansas State heading to Colorado. I'm taking the Buffaloes +6. Ever since that week 2 loss to Nebraska, the Buffs have been rolling. 3 straight wins coming off of a bye week, so they should have plenty of time to prepare for this crucial matchup here against K-State. Kansas State also coming off of a bye week, so they should also be knowing what they're doing. Both of these team offenses are really good, averaging 437 and 430 yards a game. They do it in very different ways, however. Colorado, the 10th most passing yards a game in the country. Kansas State has the 13th most rushing yards a game in the country at 252. So it's a very easy game plan for Colorado. Stack the box, do not let Kansas State run the football on you, and your offense should be able to put up enough points to win you this football game. If you're not able to stop the run, you are going to be in for a very, very, very long day. So I'm going to put my faith in Deion Sanders, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter. I'm going to need the guys to go play some good football and just lose by 3 or win the game outright. Whatever you're feeling, you do it. Just cover my +6 and we will be okay. Next game should be a great game, this one. It is Cincinnati at UCF. I am taking the over of 59 while also doing UCF -4. That is 2 separate bets. I do not parlay anything because you lose a heck of a lot of juice when you do parlays. So we got 2 of the best offenses in the country here, believe it or not, 2 Big 12 schools with some of the best offenses. They're ranked 20th and 13th in yards per game, sitting at 492 and 504 yards a game. They also do it in very different ways. Cincinnati ranked 19th in passing yards a game at 301. UCF ranked 6th in the country rushing yards a game at 282. That is kind of crazy for a Big 12 school to be at 282 yards a game rushing the football. You'd expect that out of a Big 10 school or Army or Navy or some shit, not UCF. That'll make no sense. Both of these defenses struggle in the area the other team is good at. UCF has the 209th ranked pass defense. Again, Cincinnati throws the ball a ton. They're ranked 19th in the country passing yards a game. And then University of Cincinnati has the 153rd ranked run defense, giving up 160 yards per game on the ground. UCF should be able to run them into a brick wall. Cincinnati coming off scoring 41 points, you would think, hey, that's pretty good. It's a good victory. You'd be wrong. They lost. Straight up lost, scoring 41 points. And then UCF just gave up 48 to Colorado at home just 2 weeks ago. So it should be a high scoring game. I'm thinking UCF kind of runs the ball through Cincinnati's throat. And if they don't, I'm assuming Cincinnati wins and the over hits. So a slight hedge with the over of 59. So I'm going to be taking both of those in that one. Next game, Louisville, Virginia. Give me Virginia +7. The whole angle in this game with Virginia +7 is the fact I am fading Louisville until they prove they can win a close game. Coming off of a 7-point loss to Notre Dame and then a 7-point loss to SMU. 2 quality teams. I'll give them that. Those are 2 good opponents. But those back-to-back games you were in and could have won that you did not. So I'm going to fade you until you prove you can win those games. Virginia coming off of a 10-point win against Boston College and gets to stay at home. So they don't have to travel. They get to chill in Virginia, play some Xbox, play some College Football 25, do whatever you want. Go talk to the girlfriend for a while, get some coffee. Just cover Louisville +7, please. Louisville does have the edge on defense. I ain't going to lie. Their defense is kind of good, but I don't really think it matters here. The whole angle is that Louisville doesn't win close games. Virginia's at home. Louisville's got to travel. Granted, not very far, but you still got to go somewhere. So give me Virginia +7. Louisville can't win. Next 2 games, we're just taking 2 overs in games that should be absolute shootouts. First one, Ole Miss, LSU. Give me the over of 64. I think this game climbs. This number is probably going 67. Should be a shootout. Offenses are ranked 2nd and 27th in the country, averaging 587 and 473 yards a game. They both just air it out down the field and take big shots. That's what they're both known for. Neither of these teams have good passing defenses, giving up 203 and 206 yards a game. LSU coming off of a bye week, but prior to that, their offense has scored a minimum of 34 points a game, besides week 1 against USC. Should be a banger of a game. I also don't like either of these coaches. I actually despise both of these coaches. The Ole Miss guy's probably going to go get a job at Florida, maybe Florida State if they fire Norvell, but we'll figure out what goes on there. Either way, give me the over 64, a banger of a game. Both of these teams need to win as well. They both have one loss. You do not want to pick up your second loss or this early in the season, given the strength of schedule you have to play at the end. So over 64, defense will not be played. We're going to see a lot of touchdowns. Then the final game, Old Dominion. We're running it back, betting not against them this time, though. All right, not sure where I left off because my dog proceeded to bite my cable and I had to pause the video for a while. But finally, it's ODU, Georgia State, over 54.5. Both these teams don't play any defense, so that is the entire angle in this one. They're giving up 440, 430 yards a game. This is just going to be a shootout. Georgia State loves to pass the ball. They're 47th ranked in yards per game this year, 270 yards a game through the air. ODU pass defense atrocious, giving up 250 yards a game. ODU coming off of a loss to Coastal Carolina, where they allowed them to score 45 points. They have allowed every single team they have played to score a minimum of 20 plus points. Georgia State coming off of a bye week, but before that, they played Georgia Southern. They gave up 38 points at home against them. Prior to week that, they allowed 32 to Vanderbilt. These teams do not believe in defense. They should not be playing football. So we're going to rock the over 54.5 in this one. All right, and that is going to do it for me and this video. I appreciate you guys watching and tuning in. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button. We're doing a giveaway at 2,500 subscribers, and I will catch you for part 2 of college football picks this week, going out on Tuesday. All right, thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.